Honestly, I don't feel you need to appeal to a wide audience to grow. Today, an accounting firm or a law firm or a hospital cannot put up a meme. You're like, okay, this guy has been selling me jalebi gathia since 20 years, but I will go and buy from him rather than ordering online. That's how we started doing corporate videos. That's how we started doing social media for corporates. That's how we started doing personal branding. That's how we started building out websites. That's how we started photography. All of this happened simply because we never said no. We were like, okay, and that's why they will continue to follow you. Be like, okay, this is somebody I want to know the story of. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Crew podcast. Today we are going to be discussing everything related with personal branding. How does one create content, where does one start, and how does one go about it?
So everybody is on social media right now and everybody wants to be a personal brand or wants to create a personal brand. So how do they go about it? What's the starting point?
So I'll tell you where personal brands and company brands differentiate. Okay. Let's come to first to the question why one should create a personal brand. I personally feel people are tired of being sold things, right? They're tired of seeing ads from multiple brands, multiple companies, multiple services. The minute they open their Instagram feed or they open their YouTube, Google, they're being sold something. They're tired of buying from brands and from companies. Okay, they want to buy from people. Today the world, the more and more content and the amount of content in the world increases, the more and more people seek honest, truthful and real content. So where is this going to come from? This is going to come from people. It's not going to come from a company. It might come from a company, of course, but today what would you rather believe? A company's vision statement, or will you believe a person telling his own story full of mistakes, success, growth, experience? You're more likely going to believe the latter. And that's the reason why people need to create personal brands today, because people are identifying lesser and lesser with companies and corporates. They're identifying more with personal brands. So that's the reason why people should create a personal brand to begin with. And this can be today as a founder of a company, today as a founder of a startup, or any person who's even leading a team, be it a lead team of 5 people or 500 people. Okay, end of the day, people want to identify with a face. This face has to come from a position of power in a certain company, in a certain brand, so people take it seriously. But when this content, this person coming out speaks honest, real stories, they identify this part of the brand, this part of the personal brand with the actual brand, and that's where it really is. So today, I know I have clients who know me personally, know my values, trust me on a personal level, and that's why they give work to my agency. That's why they'll be like, okay, why don't you create a video for us? Why don't you manage my social media? Because today they have met me on a social, personal, networking level.
Yeah.
They identify with me, with my values, trust me, and they're like, okay, why don't you handle so and so things for my company? So that is the reason why I think personal branding is so important in today's day and age, and at any level.
I think a lot of corporations and businesses might also find it really difficult to put out quirky content, be their true selves, because they have to maintain that corporate image. Which is why I think a lot of these new age ads are performing really well, wherein let's say cred ads, or let's say ads that look more like a user generated content. And so brands are also trying to put out some sort of personality out there. but still, yeah, like on an individual level it's much easier. Like imagine if like some lawyer is posting content and he has his own personal brand. It's much easier for that person to be his true self online rather than a brand.
Certainly, because today a company has to act like a company. Today, an accounting firm or a law firm or a hospital cannot put up a meme. You know, even if they put up a meme, it has to be related to their business and in a very subtle way. But today, the chartered accountant himself, or the doctor himself, or the lawyer himself can put up a quirky reel or a fun thing or a fun way of looking at things, because that a person can still digest. But today I will not trust a hospital which is putting up content which is supposed to be quirky and hilarious. Okay, I much rather trust a doctor, because on a personal level I can identify with him, that he's also a human. But when it comes to his business, when I look at his business, I would like to have a certain level of trust building there, which in a company matter I will only and only identify with the way we have seen brands since we've grown up. You know, a lawyer, a chartered accountant, a hospital is supposed to be serious. It cannot be funny, right? But their owners, they can create different types of experiment with different types of content. So certainly, I think when it comes to comparing companies and personal brands, you can use both. If you can smartly use both and create certain type of content for the company and certain type of content as a personal brand, and have them to merge, sharing traffic, sharing attention, it can really work well together.
So what kind of content would you put out as a person, and what kind of content would you put out as a company?
Let me give you an example of my agency. Today, if I am the founder of this agency who's had this journey of 4 or 5 years building this out, creating a team, working with multiple brands across the world, the kind of content which I would put out on a personal level are my stories. Okay, it would be how I made mistakes, how I got my victories, how did I learn something, educational content which would be simply to tell people, okay, I ended up doing this, I made this mistake, or I ended up doing this, I got a victory. Here's something you can learn from my experience. Okay, it would on a personal level, again, honest, truthful, real content always works. You have to use a mix of educational content, at the same time story type content, you know, where people identify with you, they believe in you, they live your story with you, and it evokes some kind of feeling in them, and that's why they will continue to follow you, be like, okay, this is somebody I want to know the story of, or continue to know where he goes, right? Now on a company level, I want to make sure when a person is looking at my company page, he's come there to either buy a service or buy a product. So I'm going to focus on my services and my products. What are the features? What's my USP? What values my brand has? What's our mission? What's our vision? How does our team look like? You know, what's our infrastructure? What do we do well? What do we don't? You know, all of these things, because when a person is looking at a personal brand, he's looking to identify with you. When he's looking at a brand or a company, he's looking to buy something. So you have to play to the person's attention and in what zone they have come to this account in, and accordingly play to your strengths in either case.
That makes sense. So this also ties back to the thing you were talking about earlier, wherein you were saying that the company page or the business page would be more serious, trust building content, and the personal page would be more personal and, you know, fun content, light-hearted content. So this also makes sense from a perspective of just someone trying to get like a service. Let's say we were talking about lawyers earlier. So like having some like a case or something like that is a very like tedious process. So once you see that, okay, so you see that company page, you see that, okay, this person is really trustworthy, he's accomplished, won a lot of cases, has a lot of experience. And then you see the personal page, okay, yeah, there is a light-hearted side. So this person is going to make me feel comfortable when I fall into that, difficult situations. Or same goes with the doctor. So I think what you mean to say there is, you need to build trust as a business, but then you also need to add a human touch to it, wherein you're still a person. This is not a brainless corporation. You'll be interacting with people here, and they will treat you well, basically.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, just go back to how you buy or sell a service or a product. Today sometimes we will go to a kirana store, or we will go to our some store which we've been going through since childhood, simply because it reminds us of something. We identify with the face. We're like, okay, this guy has been selling me jalebi gathia since 20 years, but I will go and buy from him rather than ordering online. Okay, because you have a face, you have a person, you have somebody who you have kind of grown up with, and that's irreplaceable. So again, coming back to that part, whenever there is a human touch, there is a face attached to it, there is somebody's real story and life attached to it, you are way more likely to believe in that person's brand or that person than just seeing a company logo.
Right. So, what's a good split between business content and personal storytelling in terms of building a company?
I'm guessing you mean building a personal brand.
Building a personal brand.
Yeah. So, ideally, I would do a mix of 70-30, where 70 is more authoritative educational content, and 30% is more personal related content, simply because, see, yeah, the account has to be real and personal, but end of the day, when you're a lawyer, people expect you to speak about law. If you are a video editor, people expect you to speak about video editing. Okay, people only want to hear so much stories. They don't want to hear about your personal, your personal agendas and your personal visions and your personal life. To a certain extent, to create trust, to make it real, yes, but end of the day, 70% has to, or even 80% I would say, has to go towards creating content which people are expecting you to be a pro at, right? So yeah, I think 70-30, 80-20 is a good mix of having educational content to personal storytelling content.
So I think a great example of this would be Dr. Mike. He's a doctor, I think, in the US, and he has a lot of content around medical questions, and medical means medical situations. So he makes a good balance, he keeps it very balanced. Then he gives out his serious tips, and it builds a lot of trust in terms of, and that's his thing, that's his template of making it work. So in such a huge competition, there are so many people who are trying to do exactly the same thing that you're trying to do. So how do you stand up? How do you stand out like Dr. Mike, or like one of the people who have actually grown their brand?
See, standing out is, for me, when I think about, okay, what content is going to work, do the simplest thing: zoom out, become a viewer. Okay, what is the world expecting you to speak, and what is the world expecting you to educate them, entertain them about, in a way that they will stick out there to see an entire video. Okay, and there are multiple ways of understanding this. See who are the top creators in your business. Okay, see what content they are doing, what reels are getting the highest amount of views, what videos are getting the highest amount of minutes watched. At the same time, mix in what you are good at. Okay, what is that one thing that you can add value for? End of the day, no matter how many AI reels you see about, okay, take the transcript from here, put it into ChatGPT, change it into another this thing, put it onto a teleprompter, read out the same script, you see everyday content more and more about how we can replicate the best content out there, put it in our own way and put it out there. But remember this, it's already out there in the universe. Today, some of the most watched videos are the ones where something is unique, something which has not been talked out before, something which is a touchy point, and something which everybody can relate to. So make sure you mix in what you are good at, what's working, what your customers, what your clients are expecting you to speak about, and last but not the least, again, as I say, be real, be honest, be upfront. Okay, people like to see a person making mistakes. They like to identify a person who they understand, okay, this person is not perfect, but he figured his way out like I am, in life. And then when it comes to the content that they are talking about, again, as I said, what customers want, what's working, and whatever you are good at. And the end of the day, keep it real.
So I really resonated with what you said about value, and focusing on providing value can be a way that it sorts out your entire plan. So you can provide value by either entertaining them or educating them or in some other form. But it sort of answers all of your other questions regarding so how many times do I post? So if your content is really valuable, a person wouldn't mind even receiving that value 3 times a day. So one of the things that also happens with personal branding is, let's say a college student or someone wants to start a personal brand for the first time. They'll most likely focus on the glamorous aspects of personal branding. Okay, I need my logo to look this perfect. I need the social media, like first 12 post grid to be perfect. And I have also caught myself getting stuck in that loop wherein I'm focused on the glamorous aspect of it, but I'm not networking, or I'm not DMing people to ask for work, or I'm not DMing people to build connections. So what's a breakthrough out of this like situation?
This is the biggest problem I see with most people who are starting out a personal brand. Like, number one, the main thing to do is start. Okay, perfection is a goal which you never actually reach. If you spend 3 months on deciding, okay, this logo looks good, this logo looks bad, or this my picture is not okay, you've lost that time. Once you start a personal brand, you will always, as and when you grow, you will keep getting better. As time passes, you will have the resources to make what you had envisioned happen, but nothing of this can happen till you don't start. And what happens is, and that's the problem with most even startups, 100% don't go in like a fool. Okay, don't invest money in something which is not going to fruit, but start somewhere. If you keep waiting for that perfect opportunity, okay, this is left, okay, my network is not big enough, okay, I don't have enough followers yet, the problem is, when you don't start, you're not starting that cycle of things to happen, of your journey, of your growth, of your need to get out there. I'll give you a simple example. When we started this agency, we hardly had experience about any of the things which we are doing right now. But we just had, me and Sahil always had this thing of never saying no. We would take a video project, find the person to do it, figure a way out to execute it in the budget, still make money and do it. That's how we started doing corporate videos. That's how we started doing social media for corporates. That's how we started doing personal branding. That's how we started building out websites. That's how we started photography. All of this happened simply because we never said no. We were like, okay, this is the project. This is an opportunity to learn. What's the worst that can happen? We'll make a mistake. We'll give the money back and we will quit. But that's never happened yet, because we always, the one thing that I think we are good at is figuring things out. Okay, and that's what helps propel our journey. Similarly, what I would tell anybody who's about to start a personal brand or a startup which they are going to start. Okay, move ahead, make things happen, let the wheel start churning. As you go along, you have to figure things out. That's the beauty of business. Eventually, when you land up there on that day, there are so many problems to solve and you have no escape. In the process of solving it, you will learn everything there is to learn, and that's exactly what experience is, right?
Right. So basically, if you want to become an Instagram influencer, don't buy Lightroom presets on the first day.
100% not. Start with your selfie camera, okay, auto-generate captions from Instagram, shoot 30 reels, put it out there, see even if one works, okay. In that process, you will know much more.
So let's say we have started, a person has started, they've put out like 30 pieces of content. and they have seen some initial traction, and now they want to scale it. So how do you scale your personal brand?
Now that's where you come to the art of making it better and better and making it perfect. Okay, the beauty of the internet is everything is out there. You know the masters or the pros, what kind of content they're creating, what are they saying. See your reels, see their reels. Okay, see your content, see their content, see where you're missing. Okay, try to get better in each aspect. Of course they have their own resources and everything, but that's the art of figuring it out. You need to know what's important right now, what I can make better, and slowly and steadily you will get there. So and this has been repeated again and again, and I'll repeat it. The art of creating a personal brand is number one, being consistent, being real, growing as you go, and throughout the process making sure that you're moving forward. Okay, like when you look at your timeline, okay, this is what I posted 30 days ago and this is what I'm posting today, you can see a difference in the way you're speaking, or in the way you are the way you've edited this, or the way you've put up a caption. And that's the art of adapting to knowing what the customers or your clients or your followers like.
Right. So it just keeps building onto itself. So if you watch all the old videos of YouTubers, they had really bad camera quality. They were just like holding a selfie camera, and slowly everything started building on itself. Like the writing got better, writing got more structured. There was more structured humor. There's better video editing. Everything just keeps adding onto it. So like, in order to create a personal brand, you might also need to appeal to a very wide range of audience. So how do you appeal to a wide range of audience? I think one way to do that is to hop onto trending content. So let's say one piece of content is trending, you make some sort of a content that references it and also talks about your own industry. So what else can we do apart from this?
Honestly, I don't feel you need to appeal to a wide audience to grow. You need to find that little niche audience which is going to spend their time to look at you, and you have to make sure that you are creating the content which keeps feeding them. Okay, today if I am speaking about something, say I'm a lawyer and I'm speaking about specifically immigration laws. Okay, now that's a very niche thing, but anybody who's in this situation will take his time to read, listen and watch about immigration law, and he will watch all your reels. But today if you are talking about law in a generic basis, nor is the audience going to be interested, and nor are you going to create the content which is going to appeal to somebody who is going to take the time out to watch your content. So I would say don't appeal to a wide audience, niche down, pick up specific sectors and talk about those sectors as an expert, research about it, and then only will you be able to create content which is unique and which has not been created yet. The more and more wider you go, the more and more chance of this having already been created or spoken about. So that's what I would say. Again, niche down, pick your audience and make sure you keep feeding them up till the end.
That makes sense. So I'll tell you a great example of what you were just explaining. There's this upcoming YouTube channel about selling private planes. So there's a really old gentleman. He talks about his experience selling private planes to millionaires and billionaires. And the thing that I really liked about it was I got to get insights into an industry that I otherwise would not have known about. So me personally, I'm never going to buy a private plane. But just knowing that was like a good insight, and I would still, if one day I decide to buy a private plane, I know who to go to now. So that's kind of a thing that really stuck with me. And so since now let's say a person has started creating content, they have niched down, they have an initial like set of followers willing to like buy their products, get their services, everything. So how do you like measure the impact of what you're doing right now? So let's say, how do you decide ki now's the time to scale? So one other example that I would give you is, let's say while growing Marketin Crew, you must have had a lot of situations wherein you could have like hired like 5 new people in one day, and then you could have gotten like 10 more clients. So did you decide to like hold the position for a while, or did you decide to like grow right away? How did you like make that decision?
Honestly, when we honestly building marketing crew has been always in flow. Projects have come in, we have figured things out how to do them, and we found the people to do it, and that's how we've built our team. As and when we grew, we had more clients, and we would bring in more team members to service those clients. The number one advantage that Sahil and me always had is we know what we are doing. We know how to edit a video, we know how to design a graphic, we know how to create a website, we know how to write content. So that gap between getting the client and finding the team to execute it, we would fill in. But that would give us a period where we have no risk, because today if I hire people before I have a project, and if that doesn't work out, I have to pay them regardless, and that can be a pressure mentally as well as financially. So that's how we found our way, and that's how we grew this brand.
So what would you say in short, summarizing everything, to someone who's trying to start a personal brand?
I would say start, figure it out along the way, see what the people around you are doing, try to achieve their level of excellence, and figure things out along the process. Make sure you keep it real, make sure you don't get too worked up about perfection, and be consistent and keep going at it. At some point you will figure it out.
Perfect. So I think we have covered a lot about personal branding, and somebody trying to start right now would have a good idea of where to start, what to do after listening to this conversation.
I hope so. And thank you for joining me today, and thank you for all those who are watching this video.